Welcome to Legendary Elite Slave Lords Part 1. This is going to be the first part of a three-part series where I'm going to be doing a walkthrough and a review of the entire chain. Before I get started, I want to go over the gear that I'm using and how I have this tune set up. Pull up the character sheet for reference. First, just going to show you the enhancements that I'm using. This is the same as I have it on my build post right now. And I don't expect to make any changes for this anytime soon. On the Epic Destiny side, I have been running in Divine Crusader. I've mostly, this chain, the Slave Lords chain, has been out for about 3 weeks, and so I've mostly just been farming this since then and doing guild raids. And I wanted, my normal Permanent Destiny was Unyielding Sentinel. It's a tanky build. But didn't really need that extra defensiveness for this chain, so I wanted to go for a higher DPS option. And I really like Divine Crusader. I think it's a little more fun than Exalted Angel, at least for the way that I have it set up. There are a lot of great DPS destinies for Warlock. This is an Enlightened Spirit. You could do Shirati, you could do Unyielding Sentinel, you could do Exalted Angel, you could do Divine Crusader. I guess Unyielding Sentinel is not a DPS destiny, but the others are. But I really like this one. I have the extra aura. I've got Empyrean Magic is in here. And then I've got the Consecration with all the goodies in that line. Got some Petrification immunity, some added PRR, hit points in the innate. Got this nice Zeal of Righteous clicky for extra spell power boost. So I've got Celestial Bombardment. So I've been having fun with that, and I think I'm really just going to basically make this my permanent destiny and just use Unyielding Sentinel for tanking raids. Now, what I have found is that after amassing, a bunch of the defensive epic past lives, the PRR and the AC from the Martial and Divine Spheres, I really don't need that extra defensiveness anymore from Unyielding Sentinel, at least for just regular questing. As you can see, in Divine Crusader, I got my PRR to 238. Now, my armor class would be considerably higher in Sentinel, but with all the other defenses that I have on this tune, including Displacement, that PRR and the 140 AC and the 150 MRR, I mean, I'm doing just fine. So, in all the auras, with all the healing going on. So, no problem on the defensive side. Let's take a look at the gear. I just made a whole bunch of changes on my build post. And let's see. And I actually haven't done a video on this tune, at least a solo video, in about a month. That last video that I posted with this tune was the how to do House of Broken Chains, and I made that video over a month ago before update 32 came out. So on the goggles, got Legendary Green Seal. This is a triple opposition item. On the first tier I have Blindness Immunity, and in the tier 2 and 3 I have MRR. Or Will Save, excuse me. And then for the armor, I'm still using the Scale Mail, the Celestial Sage. The bracers, this is just a placeholder right now. I'm not really benefiting from much here. I guess the dexterity, I don't have that elsewhere, and the natural armor. But the rest is pretty much redundant. I'm going to be replacing that very soon with some shackles as soon as I get enough ingredients to craft that. A couple more runs of slavers and I'll have that, and then I'll be making a 3-piece set. Legendary 5 rings, this is a crafted item from this chain. So I only have the first 4 tiers. This isn't a complete item. So there's still a colored slot to add, and then the set bonus. So I got Spell Focus Mastery +6. That's +6 to the DC of all schools, of all spells. Pretty awesome. Radiance Lore 27, Quality Con 4, Sheltering 45. I realized that I already had Sheltering 38 on the armor, but because this is a tanky tune, I opted for the Sheltering 45 on this item. Boots of Blessed Travels. I don't expect this to change for the long term because it has freedom of movement on it, and I really, really appreciate having the all-on freedom of movement effect. Legendary Dashing Gloves. Still haven't been able to pull a mythic version. I only have Diamond of Strength +6. I would have 8, but I feel like I'm going to get a mythic version, and I don't want to, you know, waste the diamond, so I'm waiting until I get at least a mythic 1 and put the diamond of strength plus 8 in there. Legendary 5 rings, so another crafted item out of here. Quality physical sheltering 11, intimidate 22, resistance 14, charisma 17. Also no colored slot, also no set bonus yet, so I'm going to backfill those when I get the ingredients. Caneth crafted belt, this will change as soon as I get my shackles done, but for now, Insightful Con 7, False Life 57, Constitution 15, and Sapphire Good Luck plus 2. This is also a triple opposition legendary green steel item. All 3 tiers are the regenerative effect with the extended unconscious range. So I have an unconscious range of something like, I think it's like, altogether, I guess like 128 and then 64, then 32. So what is that? Over 200 unconscious range. Pretty crazy. But with the triple opposition, the way that I understand it, having triple opposition on both items should give me a plus 18% bonus to hit points, and I'm only seeing a plus 13% bonus to hit points. This is the first time I'm trying the triple opposition, or the opposition's, hit point bonus. So I'm not really sure why I'm only seeing 13% instead of the 18 that Wiki indicates. It is what it is. Who knows? Legendary green steel is a bit of an enigma to me, and at least in terms of the set bonuses. Legendary planar compass in the trinket slot, so this is a newer item for me. I've got to slot it up with protection plus 8. The reason why I chose this item is because it has ghostly, because I am dumping the ethereal bracers and I wanted to have ghostly. I really like that extra 10% mischance. It also has quality magical sheltering 8 and insightful physical sheltering 17. Really nice for a tanky build. Still have resonation on the necklace, so that has the sounding that's 4 to 24 sonic damage on harmful spellcast, and that is it scales with spell power. So since I'm a Fey Pact Warlock, that's doing it's only about an extra 100 damage, but no other necklace I want to put in there for now. Slot it up with Intelligence 8, Draconic Soul Gem. Quality MRR is nice, and Competence Elemental Resistance 15 to all elements is really nice as well. I guess that's not to Sonic, but the rest. Got the legendary Pansophic Circlet, Sapphire Crushing Waveguard in the slot. This is a beautiful general potency item, best in the game right now for a general potency item. On the shield, got the Epic Shield of Tireless Aid still. I've been using that for quite a while. And then for the weapon, this is a legendary Radiance green steel, so it's got some light proccing effects. I did a video to show that. It wasn't very impressive on the damage side. I do like the blindness effect. There was some discussion about whether or not, the blindness, since that's, you're treated as though you have concealment, 50% concealment. So, is that a separate role than the concealment that I get from displacement? I don't know. But even if it's not a separate role, when the mobs are blinded, they're just sort of acting erratic and swinging wildly. So it's more than just the mischance. So I'm using it for now. I was thinking about experimenting with like a salt and a legendary salt and a legendary vacuum item. But I really I have 100 extra heal amp coming from this, so that was another big reason why I wanted that. So I'm probably going to stick with the legendary Radiance for now. I do appreciate the way that it is performing. Okay, that's enough about the gear. I should have talked to these guys before I buffed, because for some reason it takes about 10 or 15 seconds for this door to become active after you talk to both of these guys. So I've had a lot of fun running this chain. I've run it probably about 40 times. Like I said, it's been out about 3 weeks. So I've been hitting it maybe on average a couple times a day, so not super hardcore. You want to make sure you bring a true seeing item in here if you can't find secret doors, because you need it right here. Just grab some scrolls, or, you know, have a crafted item or something. So you're going to come over here, all you're going to get is some rubble, but you want to get your collectibles. They are very valuable these days with the new cane of crafting. You need a lot of collectibles, and lots of new collectibles are in the game now, and the new collectibles are dropping big time in here. If you don't care about collectibles, you certainly don't need to go over there. Lots of traps. Some of them are random, lots of pressure plates and bear traps and things shooting out the wall. So like I said, I'm gonna be doing a full walkthrough. So I'm gonna be going over the locations of all of the collectibles and even the non-essential areas, just to sort of show you what's there. If you've already farmed this a whole bunch of times, then you're not gonna learn anything from this video. Actually, you might learn a thing or two, but probably not anything too useful. This little room just has some breakables. So overall, I really do like this chain. Down here, there's just some trash mobs, and there can be a slave down here. One of the optionals is to rescue slaves. Now, the optional XP is totally not worth it. It's like 2k, which is shameful. In fact, overall, the XP in this chain, I think, is pretty shameful. The first time you run it, you're going to get about 100,000 XP for this one, which, for a first time, that's pretty decent. It is kind of a longer quest, though. It doesn't have to be, though. I mean, there are lots of areas that you can just skip. But I do feel like... Nothing. Bear trap. I do feel like the XP should be higher, and the optional XP should probably be about 10 times what it is. You know, 2,000 XP for an optional at this level range is pretty ridiculous. Especially when you gotta find 10 slaves that are in random locations. And, you know, to put it in perspective, you know, when you rescue all the prisoners in New Invasion, I mean, that's like 18-20k there, you know, and that's a level 19 base quest. So here's a slave, you know, like I said, they can be in random locations. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get them for this video. Lever over here. Lever there. Shrine if you need it. Sometimes lots of traps right here. Pressure plates. Then we're gonna go over this graveyard. And there's a lever here. There's a breakable over here in the corner. Trash mobs. But I would like to see, you know, the base XP increase a little bit for all the parts, and then have the optionals be worth considerably more. I've seen slaves here in the graveyard, like over there and stuff, so you want to look around for those if you're going to do the slaves. But like I said, it's 2k XP right now, and it's just not worth it. It's just not even worth the trouble. So I think, you know, the highlight for this chain is the craftables. I mean, they're totally awesome, and it is a huge grind. And so some people have been, you know, complaining about that, but I'm really glad that there's a big grind in the game. I think the game needed it. It's nice to have a big grind that's not a raid, so you can sort of grind it at your leisure. The ingredients chests, which are the small chests, they never ransack, so you can just keep running it. But the other chests do ransack. So, you know, this is the kind of thing that, you know, you're not going to have everything you want in the first week or even the first month. You know, this is a long-term thing, you know, and really, this just needs to become part of your daily routine. And it's not, you know, I've already said it's not great XP, but you do want to build up those ingredients. Because the items you can craft are totally awesome, and in many cases, the attributes that you can put on them are the highest available in the game at this time. This area I'm going to now is an optional area, but to have a chest. So you definitely want to do it. These little chests here, these are what has the ingredients, and they never ransack. So this is one of the secondary ingredients, and this only drops in the first quest, these legendary shattered symbols of the slave lords, not to be confused with the trinket that's called symbol of the slave lords. You need a lot less of these secondary ingredients compared to the primary ingredients, and they drop at a rate of about, you know, 4 to 1. You're going to get about 4 of the primary ingredient for every 1 of the secondary that you get. And I believe you're getting about, I think it might be 3D or 5D3 on Legendary Elite. I've seen 5 to 15 of the primary ingredients drop in a chest. Those eggs are nothing. You can break them, but they didn't do anything. Actually, could have just skipped that group and went around the other way and just dealt with these guys. One of the strategies that you can use is you can actually lure the mobs over these pressure plates, and it tears them up pretty well. When you have these casters that get scattered and they don't want to kite together, this is an example of a time that I like to use chain shape, because it'll bounce around between them. Remnants, nice. So down here, this is also an area that you don't have to do, but there is another chest. There's going to be 3 Umber Hulks here. I like to dance these guys. Odo's Dance is one of the pact spells that you get for Fey Pact. No save for that. It's a nice little single target crowd control spell. collectible, and an ingredients chest. So the broken shackles are the primary ingredient that drop from this first part. Each part has its own unique ingredients to it that only drop in those parts. Down here, it's just trash mobs, so you don't ever need to go down here. I'll pull up the map so you get your bearings in case you're a little bit newer to this. So after I got through that sort of first part, this is where I came in. Came down here for a chest, came over here, and now here. And now I'm going to go down here, there's a collectible, and then start heading through the sewer. And so, for example, you could just come down, straight down, go through the sewers, and then go right up to the end. But I'm going to be doing this optional area here because there is a chest here, and there's another maybe collectible there. Yeah, I think it's chest here and collectible there. Oops. Went the wrong way. So this pack is definitely worth getting. I mean, the craftables are so awesome, and I think it's a fun chain. I definitely would have liked to see them do a little bit more with it. I think overall the quests are they're a little linear, I guess. I would like to maybe see some more meaningful or fun optionals. And there's a part in part 3 where I think there was just so much that could have been added. It's just a collectible down there to add some richness to it, and I'll discuss that when I get there. And you know, in terms of freshness, like, it does feel sort of semi-fresh. You know, there's some parts, you know, it feels a little rehashy. You know, they definitely are using decor and you know, dungeon models or you know, landscaping from other quests and dungeons. But you know, you gotta expect they're going to do that. But for something like the classic module, I don't know. I guess I would have liked to seen a little bit fresher feeling, but like I said, it feels semi-fresh, so not a big complaint there. There's nothing down in this water here. It does have a pretty strong current. There's a couple little jets there that are going to blow you off right there, and then it's just a little trick to, you know, toss you in the water, and then you get swept away by the current. And like I said, the current is very fast moving, and I'll just show you. Nothing down there, just a dead end. Bunch of oozes down here. And irritating, slow-moving water. So like I said, you could just go north here, but I'm going to go up this way to get my extra stuff. I'm gonna kite all this stuff up. But here, if you go up the middle, you won't aggro these ogre enforcers on each side. There's nothing over there. There's some breakables, but there aren't any chests or collectibles over there. So if you just farm this for speed, just run right up the middle, and then you won't aggro that stuff. Unfortunately, what happens is if you have latecomers that aren't as self-sufficient, and then they come up through here, and then they aggro those ogre enforcers, and they get hit pretty hard. Just gonna grab all this stuff and bring it over here to the red name. I only recently realized, just in the past, I don't know, month or so, that the sonic damage that Primal Scream does, that scales with spell power. So I'm actually seeing like it hit for like 5,000 damage. So as an AoE, that's pretty cool. An AoE that does 5,000 damage to every mob. Let's see if I can demonstrate that. I'm gonna turn off the aura here, and then let all these numbers subside so that you can just see the Primal Scream. So I hit him for 2,400. Maybe it's only 5k on a crit, or maybe he has some resistances. Slave. And a couple chests. So these larger chests will ransack. Hey, another slave. These 6 slaves are always here. And you get a collectible. And a shrine. I've been shrining a lot more in this iteration of the build, or as, to the point where it's evolved to now, because I have been using Primal Scream as well as Darkfire, which is hitting for like 5,000 as a single target shot, and Darkfire uses up action boost, so I only get 6 per rest. So I like to rest to get all that stuff back. I'll see if I can demonstrate Darkfire. There's a mob there. Oh, he saved. Only hit him once. See if I can find a mob without a save. So it shoots 3 bolts, and it only hit once. We'll hit this Ogre Enforcer here. So it looks a couple times for 600, and then once I think it said 1700. Let's also show the Primal Scream. So I got the regular aura off. I'm just gonna do the Primal Scream here to see what it hits. So I saw some 5,000, saw some 1,000, so it's pretty well. Pretty pleased with it. Let's try another Dark Fire here on the Enchanter. Oh, it was hard to isolate those numbers. We'll do it again. Let's let everything scroll up. Oh, I just said there they were, just there. 1,400, 1,700, and 1,200. So, if you're not familiar with Darkfire, that's a drow enhancement. So I had to spend 10 points in the tree here to get it, and it's 2 action points. But you know, I'm overall, you know, I'm gonna get charisma out of here, get some extra spell resistance, +6 to enchantment saves. So that's pretty cool. You know, I'm not wasting a bunch of points to get to it. And it's just 2 action points. It's certainly not a critical part of the routine, but what the hell? It's possible that I could lose those to maybe just pick up the extra pack damage from Tainted Scholar. Because I don't have the tier 4 Tainted Scholar. You know, like right here. Lever here. That's for that door there. You don't have to go over here, but there is a red name and a sleeve over there. It's a red name and a couple chests. Always end up wasting all my dark fires and primal screams on this guy, and then I have nothing for the end fight. These guys always sneak up from behind you when the witch doctor gets down a bit. If there are squishy tunes in your party, they often it's a pretty clever little trick. They often, you know, hit those squishy tunes that, you know, maybe we're ranging them from over here or casting spells and they didn't see the guys coming up from behind. I've seen a lot of people get caught by those spawns. I have found that it's taking me about a dozen runs on Legendary Elite to be able to craft like my first 4 tiers. So no slot and no No set bonus, but first 4 tiers by them, by themselves are very, very powerful. Collectible down here in the water. So here, you're going to pull this lever over here to activate this puzzle. And as soon as you pull that, these things are going to start shooting flame jets out. Now there's a box over here that you can disable the flame jets if you have a trapper. I'm not a trapper. If you want, you can toss on your fire shield. So there are 2 ways you can solve this puzzle. You can go around and avoid these red things, and that actually shoots extra flame traps. Or if you just want to do it the quick baller way, you can just go right through the bottom here. Right, and then these flame jets come out, and then you'll see who's squishy in your party, because they're going to be standing back here while you're doing the puzzle, and then they're going to get flamed by those jets and die, and then you can laugh at them. But if you want to be safe, you can just, like I said, you can solve the puzzle by going up and around and avoiding all the red things. And then you pull that lever, and then it disables them all, and then we'll open that door back up. Once you start this puzzle, that door will lock until it's completed. Nothing interesting in this hallway. And we're almost to the end here. I'm just going to pull all this stuff inside. So down here is like a prison area. You pull this lever to open up all the cells. Now, normally I just skip this because, like I said, it's not worth the trouble of freeing all these slaves. But for the video, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I haven't even been down here since like the first few times I've run this. It's kind of a neat looking area. Now, I have not ever played the pen and paper module. I am a pen and paper person, but I haven't run this module, so I can't compare it. I did look at some of the maps though after this came out, pen and paper maps, and definitely looks like they took some liberties in terms of the map. And I read about some of the encounters too. But I mean, you can't take a pen and paper module and do a perfect translation of it. It's just not going to happen. But I can't make those comparisons, from the pen and paper perspective. So down here is also an area you don't even have to go to. In fact, I never do when I'm farming it. It's just more slaves down here. There's nothing else whatsoever. There's not collectibles or anything. Also an area that I haven't been in since the first week this came out. Nothing in here. Oh no, there's a slave up here. So if you're role-playing, you know, you're going to come down here and free the slaves, of course, because, well, unless you're role-playing an evil party, but you're probably not doing that. Or maybe you're role-playing a, you know, a bunch of neutral druids and you just don't care. But even a true neutral druid would probably free slaves. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get all the slaves. I guess I missed some. Pull up the map real quick so you get your bearings. That's the end fight there. So like I said, you can just come along here and go straight up, but you know, if you're doing this because you want to get the ingredients, so you know, it's every reason to come up here and get the chests and stuff. I can certainly feel the difference when I don't have my aura going on. You know, those temporary hit points that you get from brilliance are huge in terms of, you know, they function as maintenance healing. Well, that's it. Make sure you get your collectible here. Don't forget to grab the shipping manifest to complete part 1. And, you know, if you'd like to perch, you can come up here. Get your loots. I still haven't pulled my spinneret. And then the craftables, like the legendary chains here, you probably know by now that the unique thing, one of the unique things about them is that you can equip them to 2 different equipment slots. So this says equips to neck or waist. These are very common drops in here, so don't stress about trying to get the base items. You're going to get tons of them. In fact, by the time you get enough to even craft your first tier on your first item, you're going to have a dozen of each of these. So don't worry about the base items so much. You can sell them for a decent amount of plat, though. Well, thanks for watching part 1. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. If you have any questions about my build, you can respond on my build posts in the Warlock forums. And if you're on Sarlona, you're welcome to send me a tell. And now on to part 2.